Hello? No. Okay.
We ready? Raina? Ready? Okay, gonna get started. Just want to let everyone know that Mayor Frida is in Europe, having a long overdue and well-deserved vacation with his family. We wish his family and Mayor Frida well and hope they have an enjoyable time outside of Princeton. Councilwoman Niedergang had a death in the family, and she is at the funeral today, so we send condolences to Eve and to her husband and to her family. So, Madam Clerk, would you like to read the meeting statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, including the time, date, and location of the meeting. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of this meeting.
Councilwoman Lambrose will read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. We gather today on the land of the Lenni Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Ms. Pearl-Lambros?
Here.
Ms. Niedergang is excused. Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Sachs?
Here.
Ms. Fraga?
Here.
Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida is excused. You have quorum.
Thank you. Could everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have 3 proclamations tonight. The first one will be read by Councilwoman Fraga, and it's a retirement of one of our staff members.
Yes, and it is my great pleasure and honor to read this proclamation honoring Rogelio Alvarado on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas the municipality of Princeton is proud to recognize Rogelio Alvarado, custodian in the Department of Public Works, for his dedication to public service on the occasion of his retirement, and whereas Rogelio began his career with the Borough of Princeton on April 6, 1998, as a part-time custodian for the Borough of Princeton Police Department, thence hired as full-time custodian in the Borough of Princeton Department of Public Works, and whereas Rogelio is known for his dependability and reliability, as he never took a sick day from 1998 through 2023, and whereas Rogelio acted as flag bearer, hoisting ceremonial and honor flags for special events throughout the years, and whereas Rogelio maintained the fountain outside of Monument Hall, and whereas Rogelio maintained safe passage of sidewalks and walkways at Monument Hall throughout the years, and whereas Rogelio organized and assisted with room setup, breakdown for meetings, and special events at the then Suzanne Patterson Center and Monument Hall, and whereas Rogelio enjoys spending time with his family and especially his granddaughters, and whereas Rogelio's retirement from the municipality of Princeton will be effective October 1st, 2024, And whereas Rogelio has dedicated over 26 years to serving the municipality of Princeton, now therefore be it resolved that I, Leticia Fraga, on behalf of Mark Frida, Mayor of Princeton and the Council of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, extend the municipality's humble expression of appreciation and sincerest congratulations to Rogelio Alvarado. We offer our best wishes for a long, happy, and healthy retirement. Congratulations.
Okay, so now we have three proclamations tonight. The second one is a proclamation commemorating the bicentennial of the Lafayette Farewell Tour, 1824 to 1825, which has real historic implications for Princeton, in which Councilwoman Lambros has been spearheading and teeing up all sorts of exciting things. And this is just the beginning.
Thank you, just the beginning. So the proclamation is Office of the Mayor, Municipality of Princeton, proclamation of the bicentennial of the Lafayette Farewell Tour, 1824 to 1825. Whereas the American Friends of Lafayette is celebrating the bicentennial of Lafayette's Farewell Tour of America in 2024 to 2025 in hundreds of cities and towns, including Princeton, New Jersey. And whereas this celebration honors the visit to America of the last of the surviving major generals of the American Revolution at the request of President James Monroe to remind Americans of their shared founding values. And whereas Lafayette is recognized as the hero of two worlds, both in America and France. And whereas in 1777, during the American Revolutionary War, the young Marquis de Lafayette first rendered service to America by traveling from France to give aid to the colonies, joined in the fight for American independence, and in the process became one of George Washington's most trusted major generals and considered by many to be his adopted son. And whereas during Lafayette's service, undertaken at his own expense, he proved to be indispensable to the cause of American independence, both in his military and diplomatic roles. And whereas on September 11th, 1777, 5 days after his 20th birthday, Lafayette shed his blood for the cause of American independence at the Battle of Brandywine, and
whereas the Battle of Yorktown, in which Lafayette played a major role, ended with Cornwallis's surrender and a decisive American victory that caused the British government to acknowledge the United States of America as a sovereign nation. And whereas Lafayette was a lifelong supporter of human rights, advocating for religious liberty, racial equality, women's rights, and civil justice. and relinquished his own noble title during the French Revolution. And whereas Lafayette was an early and consistent voice against slavery in France and in America, where he constantly sought to persuade American friends, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, to eradicate this evil. And whereas Lafayette supported women's rights in matters of education and divorce, endorsing and promoting the views of activists like Frances Fanny Wright. And whereas during his farewell tour of America in 1824 to 1825, he visited the then 24 states, including Princeton, New Jersey, on September 25, 1824, where he received an honorary degree from the College of New Jersey, now Princeton University. And whereas the Lafayette Bicentennial is a reminder of Princeton's very substantial role in the founding of the nation nearly 250 years ago, including the American victory at the Battle of Princeton, and as the seat of the new United States government in 1783. And now, therefore, I, David Cohen, on behalf of Mark Freda, Mayor of the Municipality of Princeton, and the Council of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September 23, 2024, the bicentennial of Lafayette's visit to be Lafayette Day in Princeton. And be it further resolved that Princeton's mayor and council express appreciation to the American Friends of Lafayette for organizing commemoration activities, including a free public lecture in Princeton on the bicentennial of Lafayette to Princeton. Given under my hand and seal this 23rd day of September 2024, Mark Freda.
So now we have the distinguished honor to have the Marquis here with us this evening to give us a little about the history. And I also mentioned that Brad Fay is with us, and he has been an absolute inspiration and historic knowledge that he has been imparting with all of us to help us prepare for this day and in 2 years, or a year and a half, for the 250th in 2026. So thank you.
Madame la Présidente, members of the Council, distinguished guests, Mesdames et Messieurs, I am honored and humbled by the honor you offered me this evening and by the kind welcome you offered me on behalf of the inhabitants of Princeton. As you see me today, it is 1790. The French Revolution began last year, and we are in the process of establishing a democratic process in France that will retain the monarchy under our constitution, but the people will rule. Sovereignty has been transferred from His Majesty the King to the nation, to the people. That is why I'm here today, is to speak about liberty, freedom, and democracy. I have heard I shall be back here in 200 years as well. In 1824, as Madame has said, I will receive an invitation from your President, Monsieur Monroe. I shall come because it is the right thing to do. After almost 50 years of the revolution, political parties have arisen in this country in which not only are they fighting each other, but they are fighting among themselves. President Monroe thought it would be a wise move to refocus the national outlook, to improve the perspective on what the revolution was fought for. And it was fought for these ideals of liberty and freedom and democracy for all people. And that is why I'm coming back in 50 years almost now, and 200 years ago from today, to express again my sentiments on this subject, to speak about such things as Monsieur has noted in the proclamation, my stance on slavery, my stance on feminism, my stance even on conservation, because I am a farmer, after all, in France. All of these things will make a great nation. All of these things will make this nation great. And I am again humbled and honored to have been here in Princeton, to have received the degree from the university mentioned by Monsieur, and to once again visit the soil of New Jersey, the site of so much that happened in the American Revolution, so many victories, so much fighting, and yet it worked. The fruits of this victory have been borne out today, even in 1790. They were born out in 1824, and they are still born out in 2024. Let us hope that the ideals for which I fought in the American Revolutionary War shall not be shed in vain, that the blood I shed at Brandywine shall not be shed in vain, and that we will see a continuation and the perpetuation of liberty and justice and democracy in this country forever. Merci.
Council President, council members, thank you for allowing us to come and receive this proclamation. As Councilman Lambros mentioned, I'm Brad Fay. On behalf of American Friends of Lafayette, we're delighted to be here in Princeton for the next few days to recognize exactly 200 years ago what happened here in such an important seat of our nation's founding. I want to just tell you a few things that are going to be happening in case it's of interest to any of you to attend or for the public to attend, and we've certainly been promoting things. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, the Princeton Public Library's got a program. They'll be showing a film. There'll be a panel discussion afterwards, and it's possible the Marquis will make a surprise appearance. There's also an online exhibit on the Princeton University Library's website that they put together specifically for this occasion that has a remarkable number of artifacts and documents that the university has in its collection related among them to the decision by the university to give an honorary degree to the Marquis even before his visit, decades before his visit, but it was in person presented to him when he came in 1824. And then I think in many ways the Princeton highlight is a public lecture that's completely free at the Nassau Presbyterian Church on Wednesday, the 25th, very much the moment, to the minute that the Marquis was in Princeton. It will be words from our reenactor, who I will let you know is named Michael Halbert, and he's obviously outstanding, as well as by Princeton University history professor Sean Wilentz. And his topic is going to be Lafayette and the Politics of Division. When Lafayette came 200 years ago, it was because then President Monroe, who was not running for re-election, felt that the country was badly divided politically, and there was a very controversial presidential election underway. And so, in that year, he decided, bring the most popular person in America, a Frenchman, back to America to remind us all of the values we share. And that was really the purpose of the visit. And so, isn't it interesting, 200 years later, some similar echoes. Wednesday at about noon, we'll do a quick visit to the Princeton battlefield for photos, and there's going to be a class of students there, which will be great. And then we're going to go to Trenton, as Lafayette did 200 years earlier. At 3 p.m., we'll be in the New Jersey Assembly Chamber in the State House. And if anyone's interested, we'd be delighted to have you there. He was received by the Trenton mayor. We have one of his staff who will use the same words to welcome him to Trenton and to New Jersey. And then in the evening at 6 o'clock in the Masonic Temple, near the old barracks, we'll have an evening program. Any of those things still has available tickets. If anyone's interested, please sign up at the American Friends of Lafayette website. There'll also be some wreath-laying ceremonies at 2 Trenton churches the following day. So we're very excited. Thank you for having us and allowing us to speak about this.
Thank you, Brad. I think the politics of division are something that have found their way even to Princeton on occasion, so this is very timely.
Yes. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. You should hold this.
Okay, so we're still on a history theme tonight. Glad we have Clifford Zink here to witness that we do prioritize history in Princeton. We now have a third proclamation to commemorate Constitution Week. And Councilman Newland will start, and then I'll finish.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess it's only fitting that we follow the Marquis de Lafayette with something about the Constitution, so here we go. It's a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor, Municipality of Princeton, proclamation for Constitution Week. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government and a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention held in Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And whereas 4 delegates from the great state of New Jersey, William Livingston, David Brearley, William Patterson, and Jonathan Dayton, signed this significant document on September 17th, 1787, and whereas the great state of New Jersey ratified the Constitution on December 18th, 1787, the third state to do so, and
whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week, inviting the people of the United States to observe such week in schools, churches, and other suitable places with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And now, therefore, we, Princeton Council, on behalf of Mark Frida, Mayor of the Municipality of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September 17th through September 23rd, 2024 as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardians of our liberties. Thank you. Okay, so first up tonight, I think we have the monthly police report. Chief, would you like to, can I hand you the floor?
Thank you, Councilman Sachs. My name is Lieutenant Lagomarsino. I'm here on behalf of Chief Christopher Tash. On August 1st, we had the retirement of Chief Jonathan Bucheri, and the Princeton Police Department welcomed Christopher Tash as the new chief of the Princeton Police Department. Chief Tash is in his 27th year of law enforcement, and 25 of those have been with the Princeton Police Department, as well as the Princeton Borough Police Department. The month of August was a busy month for community outreach in the Princeton Police Department. After some delays due to heavy storms, the Princeton Police Department, along with the Princeton Recreation Department, was able to host another successful community night out event in which residents were able to enjoy the community park pool, along with several inflatable obstacle courses, a dunk tank, and over 1,500 hot dogs, which our officers grilled up for them. Along with the community events, our officers volunteered to participate in the Princeton Housing Authority barbecue located at Reading Circle. This, like the community night out, has been a great opportunity for our officers to meet with all of the residents of Princeton in an informal setting and get to know one another. The Princeton Police Department, since taking back from a private dispatch company and having our own dispatchers, We've started phase 1 of the Princeton Police Dispatch renovation. This included several new desks, along with using much of our old equipment to be reinstalled with the new desks, and currently they're also conducting, adding new flooring. The recruitment process for the Princeton Police Department has continued. We had over 150 applicants, which is approximately 3 times the size of many of the other towns in our area that have the same size police department. Currently, we're down to approximately 70 applicants, and we are in the interview process. And that's all I have for the month.
Thank you. Do any council members have any comments?
Yeah, I
Questions?
just wanted to ask, Lieutenant, noticed that in the reports on crashes, there was a pretty big jump in crashes involving pedestrians. The last couple of years, it was 5, 3. This year, it was 10. And I wonder if you have any insights as to what may be contributing to that.
So I don't have any specific reasons as to why there's been, I know that along with engineering and the state DOT, we've been working on having more crosswalks with longer time periods and so forth, so where we have more full stops. We have had several incidents lately, but none that are specific to any particular area. They've been spread out throughout the downtown area. So that it would be something that I would have to look into more thoroughly.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, do we have any other staff announcements or reports? Any council member? Okay, so we have 2 sets of minutes to approve tonight. The first is September 9th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Both sets of
You wanna-
September 9th.
Okay, so we'll do both together, September 9th and September 17th. So a motion to approve from Leticia, second from Leighton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we are now going to open the meeting to public comment for items not on the agenda. Does anyone have any comments for items that are not on tonight's agenda? Okay, I don't see anyone in the audience or anyone on Zoom, so we'll close the public comment period.
I think there's a hand.
There's someone? Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Craner, can we allow Michael Craner in to speak?
Hello, I'm not sure if this is the proper procedure. I just wanted to make sure that we were covering the ordinance for solar panel, the 8-inch variance. Is that later on the agenda?
So that's later on the agenda. And this
Okay.
this period right now is for items that are not on the agenda. So if you want to
Okay.
stick around and comment then, we'd be happy to have you join us.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so anyone else on Zoom? All right. So seeing no one, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting for items not on the agenda. And now I'm going to give the floor to Deanna, our Deputy Administrator and Municipal Engineer, and we have a presentation tonight from Sustainable Princeton on leaf and brush and climate action accomplishments in general.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sachs, Council President Sachs, excuse me. Joining us tonight are members of Sustainable Princeton to provide a progress update on the activities Princeton municipality has taken in response to our climate action plan. And also joining us today, in case there are any questions, we have Wayne DeFeo from DeFeo Associates, who has been the consultant working with us on upgrades to the solid waste and leaf and branch programs. So if there are any questions related to that portion of the presentation, he's available for questions. With that, I'll turn it over to Christine Symington.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm joined here today with my colleagues Jenny Ludmer and Alex Dill. And I want to start off by sharing that the purpose of this presentation is to give you an update on 2 specific actions in the Climate Action Plan. And I want to make it clear for those turning in this evening who may not be familiar with how we work with the municipality and other organizations in our town, that while we're presenting tonight, the progress and information we're sharing are the results of the efforts and responsibilities of your municipal staff and others. And our role tonight is to put these updates in the context of the Climate Action Plan. As a refresher, the Climate Action Plan has 5 categories, 13 objectives, and over 80 actions. And tonight we're going to delve into 2 actions, one in the materials management section, and the materials management section has a vision that all Princeton community members are aware of the carbon emissions of the resources they use. And the specific action that we're going to talk about tonight is action 10.1, which is to evaluate all waste streams, solid waste, recycling, food, leaf and brush, electronics, and etc. from all sectors, and to implement a plan to save money and reduce emissions. And also as a refresher, this slide helps you understand of the different waste streams, who is currently responsible for providing the services, who it serves, and how often these services take place. So I think it's very helpful to understand that there is a solid waste stream and a solid waste collection that is weekly per neighborhood, and the municipality services that to 7,000 plus residents who live in 4 units or less, and they contract that out to a private hauler. Leaf, brush, and logs, or leaf, branch, and logs, are collected by the municipality's Department of Public Works. That happens on an annual schedule. And the bulk waste is also provided by the municipality through its municipal contract with a private hauler. That is weekly by reservation. And recycling, which is for materials that are mandated, takes place every other week, and that is handled by the Mercer County Improvement Authority. And there are 2 other ways that the town provides services to help reduce the amount of waste that goes to the landfill. One is by providing twice-a-year Shredfest events, and that includes materials that are not mandated to be recycling but are hard to recycle, and recently launched a food scrap collection as well. So we wanted to help everyone visualize that there are these different waste streams, and there are different ways that they are managed and different people responsible for them. And this is just for residential, just to make it clear, this is residential services. So in 2022, the town engaged the services of DeFeo Associates to help the town craft a new municipal solid waste program. And this was because the contract was due for renewal, and that's the time you go out to find out what a hauler will provide in terms of a cost for a new solid waste collection program. That was the perfect time to contemplate a cart-based system, which would help the municipality contain the rising costs of solid waste collection. As a result, the town implemented a cart-based system. Each resident gets one 64-gallon cart, which is collected each week. Residents can purchase an additional cart, or you can swap out the 64-gallon cart for a 32-gallon. And the town also instituted as a way to manage the waste is a by reservation system for bulk waste. Previously, you could put bulk waste out on the curb at any time and have it come collected, but now it's done by reservation. These are two important ways that the municipality went about managing the costs of its waste system, and also as a way to reduce emissions. So I'm going to have my colleague Jenny talk a little bit about the data of the solid waste tonnage since this program was implemented.
Yeah, so last year in 2023, you can see that Princeton collected just over 5,000 tons of solid waste. That has come down since 2021, but it's now very close to 2018 and 2019. Also, we have information that additional trash carts were distributed in the 64-gallon size to 252 residents, and in the smaller 32-gallon size to 39 residents. You can go to the next.
Sure. So switching from solid waste to leaf and branch and log collection, the municipality also engaged DeFeo Associates to examine ways that the town could make changes to its leaf, branch, and log collection. There were 6 recommendations that were provided to the municipality consider. Those included switching to a bag-only leaf collection. Right now, it's a combination of loose and bag, to reduce the leaf collection to October and January, and to prohibit commercial landscapers from placing leaves at the curb. Recommendations also included revising the ordinance and establish specific collection periods within that October to January timeframe, and to enforce the limitations of how much and how you're allowed to put the leaf and brush out on the curb, and also to enhance education on leaving the leaves. The municipality implemented a number of changes as a result of those recommendations. It didn't adopt all of them. The town did hire a community compliance officer to enforce the code, which is really important. They also implemented a revised collection schedule to really bring the collection schedule to when it is most necessary to collect the leaves and the brush or branches from the street. So the spring leaf collection time was reduced but not eliminated. The town eliminated the summer log and branch collection because there wasn't really enough volume during that time to warrant a collection, and constrained the placement and time for collection to make sure that the piles were not overly large. The town also revised the leaf, branch, and log requirements to improve compliance. They subsidized composter sales in 2023, and the municipality has been working with our team to enhance education and outreach opportunities, including landscaper training and maintaining a sustainable landscaper list and education to residents. So we have on our website a list of landscapers that will practice or employ ways that you don't have to put as much leaf and branches out on the curb by mulching leaves and through techniques like that. And so here we have tracked for you the volume of leaf, branch, and collection for the past year.
Right, so you can see that last year Princeton collected over almost 12,000 cubic yards of material, and the report of the data is by month, so that graph shows the seasonal changes in terms of leaves, obviously. And that material is transported to the Ecological Center in Lawrence. Bulk waste is also a part of the solid waste report that we provided earlier, so we don't have separate metrics for it. But we can say that Princeton has a consistent number of reservations that are about 60 or 70 scheduled pickups every week. And And with the food scraps collection, the drop-off program that has 2 current sites, one at Municipal Building here and another at Monument Hall, that launched and currently has 223 participants. Which is great. And the good news is that the municipality is working now to expand this. The current plan is to open 3 new sites by the end, over the next few months. And then next year, there will be even more coming. So our goal is to have these spread throughout the municipality of Princeton so that more people can participate in diverting their food scraps. And thus far, with those couple of hundred of residents, we've already diverted 24,000 pounds of food scraps. At this rate, not even considering the expansion, but just with these 2 sites, we're looking at 18 tons in a year, which is 4 megatons of carbon dioxide equivalents per year reduction. And that is kind of like growing 66 tree seedlings for 10 years, that impact. So it's great, and of course it'll grow as we have more sites.
And I want to remind everyone that when the town released the bid specification for renewing the solid waste contract or entering into a new solid waste contract, it did at the time ask for quotes for what it would cost to add or to have the curbside collection for organics return. And the cost was basically going to double the amount, a little less than doubling the amount of the current hauling cost for solid waste, and that makes sense. If you're going to have a separate collection of another source of materials, the hauler has to send out a separate set of trucks. It's a different route. So the fallback, because that was a little too expensive, was to implement this drop-off location. About 25% of what is put out as solid waste are food scraps and could go somewhere better than the landfill. So I think the municipality really made a good decision when you implemented the cart-based system that alongside it you're providing an alternative means or alternative way to divert the food scraps to a place other than the landfill. And so it's really great that the town is going to be expanding that.
So I think I heard you say, Christine, that about 24% of the landfill waste is organic, which could go into this program. Do you have a sense of how much of that 24% we're capturing right now with the 18 tons a year?
I don't off the top of my head. I could do the math about what the solid waste tons are and figure out what 25% of that is. Is this? No, but this is about 200 households who are participating in this, so there are about 7,000 households, so you could look at it that way. Jenny?
Right, I mean, that's the difference. It's
Yeah.
going to be the fraction of 200 divided by the
Yeah.
7,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I actually have one other question. I became aware this year for the first time that sometimes at the end of the season, the Ecological Center runs out of compost or leaf compost. And I'm curious whether, there's been a reduction in the amount of leaves that we're sending. You only gave the 2023 statistics. Are we sending fewer leaves, and is that partly responsible for the unavailability of the, not that that would be a bad thing. I still think it's better for people to leave the leaves, but I'm just curious.
Go ahead.
I think in the future, we're going to be tracking this, but in the past, there were just gaps in the data. So we weren't able to do a full analysis from years past.
Yeah, and other things can affect the amount of leaves. It could be, just a different season with, more intense leaf fall. If there was a reduction, I'd like to say it's because people are leaving the leaves and putting less out at the curb, but we don't have enough evidence to say that's what the reason is.
Deanna, do you have a sense whether it goes up and down? I mean, whether the center runs out of compost regularly?
I think it does run out regularly.
Okay, thanks.
Excuse me. Can I just say something real quick about the compost program? I I've been using it for about a year now, and it's a little inconvenient because you got to take care of the compost. You have to keep it in a container, and 2 or 3 times a week, once a week, or every day you have to come drop it off. You can either drop it off down here at the municipal building or up at Monument Hall. But the good news is it keeps your trash lighter and it doesn't smell. And it's better for the environment. So I just encourage people, you know, help us out. Do what's right for you, do what's right for the earth. It's a small ask, and it might be a little inconvenient, but you know, especially in the hot months, everybody, you know, the ants, the flies come around because you got excess food in your trash can. It's a mess. So there's an easy way to take care of that and to do something and help the environment. So please get engaged. This is not a heavy lift. Thank you.
And backyard composting is also highly encouraged as well. Then you have your own source of compost to use for your yard and your garden beds. All right. If we don't have any more questions about the waste action, I'm going to turn over to Alex Dillon. She's going to give an update on one of our energy actions.
Thank you. Yeah, so the vision for our energy category is that all Princeton community members efficiently use clean, reliable, and affordable energy. The first objective in this section is to reduce emissions in the built environment. And you can go to the next slide. And one of the actions set to meet this objective is accelerating residential and commercial participation in state and utility energy efficiency programs. So through a partnership program with Sustainable Jersey and PSE&G, Princeton has launched an energy efficiency campaign to work towards this action. For residents, there's 3 different programs based on income level and number of people in their household. If you qualify for the Comfort Partners program, you'll receive a free energy assessment and can also receive no-cost energy efficiency upgrades like insulation, air sealing, and lighting upgrades. If you qualify for the home weatherization program, you also get that free energy assessment as well as up to $7,500 in energy efficiency upgrades. For the Home Performance with Energy Star program, you do have to pay for a home energy assessment, but Princeton awarded 2 contractors and has a group rate for Princeton residents. Those contractors are Seal Power and Green Home Solutions. After the energy assessment, they'll provide you a report with all the rebates and incentives that you could still qualify for. And if you want to find out more, you could visit the campaign website, energyoutreachnj.com/Princeton. And then if you're a business or a building owner, there's also a commercial energy efficiency program available. The PSE&G Direct Install program is specifically designed for small businesses, and they define that as 200 kilowatts or less of electricity use. They provide free on-site energy assessments, a bunch of rebates and incentives, and then if you want to go through with the work, they'll provide 100% of the upfront costs covered, 0% interest for 60 months. And you could just pay that back on your bill. So these programs and this campaign help to promote equity, foster economic sustainability, and improve local environmental quality, and enhance public safety and health. So feel free to visit the websites, and I'll turn it over to Christine.
Yeah. And while we have the opportunity, we want to make folks aware of some upcoming events. On Thursday, we are working with the Watershed to host our 3rd Sustainable Landscaping Workshop for landscapers, where they can learn about techniques that they can offer to customers to manage their yards more sustainably. Landscaping companies that complete the workshop get to advertise that and get added to our Sustainable Landscaper list. On the 28th, this Saturday, is a 2nd greenhouse tour that we are holding in partnership with the Environmental Commission, where you can visit 6 homes in Princeton that have implemented energy efficiency, renewable energy, and other green building practices. On October 14th, we are hosting a conversation with author Sarah C. Bronin, who released a book, Key to the City, How Zoning Shapes Our Communities. On October 19th, there's a greenhouse tour screening of videos of those 6, actually I think 8 houses at the Princeton Public Library. November 9th is the municipality's Shred Fest, where Sustainable Princeton will be providing some ancillary collection of styrofoam and other hard to recycle items. And then December 4th, we have a Sustainable Minds event on the topic of the state of clean energy in New Jersey. So that. Any questions?
Yeah, I had one for Alex. This will be an easy one, I think. With the programs that you talked about, the first one said you have to be income eligible. The second one, it said just if you qualify. And I'm curious whether that's also an income eligibility, or does it have something to do with the age of the home or some other?
Yeah, all of them are income. And then the Comfort Partners is low income, home weatherization is middle, and then it's also based on the number of people in your household.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you, as always. Great leadership. Really great to see the progress that we've made since we went to the new card implementation. I just want to say that I did do an energy assessment, so I'm kind of, it was really pretty shocking, the amount of things that needed to be done. PSC&G has some really good programs to help, and I think it's really worthwhile. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the results in a decrease in my bills. But most importantly, that I'm saving energy, because it was going right out the roof. So, but thank you for taking this on. It's really a big endeavor, but I appreciate it. And I met them at one of the
Sustainable Home Expo?
The Sustainable Home Expo,
which will be returning next March.
Yes, which was terrific. And congrats on the e-Commuter Fest as well.
Thank you.
So you're very active in the community, and it's just terrific. So thank you.
And thank you, Council, and to the team for your municipal departments for keeping the Climate Action Plan as one of your priorities. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lambros is an early adopter.
Madam President, I just want to make one more note. I want to thank the Engineering Department and Sustainable Princeton for bulk waste by reservation. It has improved quality of life, especially for those of us who live in the more densely populated neighborhoods. That makes an amazing difference in the quality of life, so thank you.
I have a few questions. So, not surprisingly, the high in terms of the amount of waste that we were producing peaked during COVID when everyone was working from home, and it has come down. Is it possible to distinguish, how much of that is because we're no longer working from home, or how much of that is from our cart-based system?
No, probably not. I mean, probably the trend you saw was because of COVID. People were working and going to school from home, and so they were throwing things out at home, not at school and not at work. So it is a little challenging to tease out how much of that change was due to switching to a cart-based system.
But based on other communities who've gone to a cart-based system, do we anticipate that we'll continue to, can we look forward to continuing to decrease, or?
I'm looking over my shoulder at Wayne DeFeo.
And Wayne, I'm going to remember that you're Wayne, not Gary, I promise.
Either one. Just turn on the microphone.
Sorry. So I'm not quite sure I understand the question, and good evening. It's good to see everybody again. The question is, are carts affecting the amount of garbage that you generate? Is it having an impact?
Well, I think we had hoped when we restricted the amount that people could dispose of without having to pay more, that obviously we would people would become more responsible with their waste habits. And it's hard to tease out whether we actually have become more responsible or whether we just are no longer working from home. And I'm sorry to ask such a difficult question, but I'm imagining that that is the question that people would want to know. So I'm thinking once we get beyond COVID and are there models of other communities who went to a cart-based system, and did their levels continue to decrease as hopefully everyone learned to become more responsible, as has been the case, for example, in Europe for decades?
The short answer is yes and no. We don't have enough data yet because you had COVID, which of course, as you pointed out, threw the numbers up very high for obvious reasons. The way to do that, we'd have to analyze your generation against your recycling numbers, and I don't have your most current numbers from Mercer County. My presumption is that might have gone up since then, and then we can start looking at that. Your food waste program is really a good step in the right direction as well, because if you're worried about a weight basis, food is the single heaviest thing you're going to put into the garbage on an average basis, besides bulk. I think there are two things. One is your bulk collections are really right around the range we anticipated them to be, which is much more efficient and moving towards your climate goal. Just as an aside, you don't now have a truck driving around town all day long looking for bulk because it's not there. That's an excellent step in the right direction. The carts, as a rule, at least historically, pre-COVID, when people have done restrictive solid waste volumes, we have in fact seen the tonnages go down. Overall, as a trend, it tends to work. We just don't have enough data for Princeton to say, how is it working here today?
Yeah, that's encouraging. So we hope that it's a combination. And okay. I just had, Christine, did you mention where the new sites are going to be, the new compost drop-off sites? Have we determined that?
I didn't mention them, and there are, Deanna's turning on her volume. Do you want to?
So we have a USDA grant for the next 2 years to expand our program up to 10 additional sites. The sites we're currently looking at to implement this year is near the sewer pump station on General Johnson Road off of Rosedale. We're also looking at a location along the public sidewalk by Riverside School. And the third location that we're considering is near the Chestnut Street Firehouse to be able to serve that area of town closer to the Nassau Street corridor. So that's what we're currently working on right now. We're rethinking with our experience on our first two locations, the type of storage facility. In the picture, you'll see the wooden shed. We're currently working on some new ideas for that, for the rollout of the next 3 locations. But we're hoping possibly by the end of the year to have those in place.
Great, okay. Let's see. All right. I also just wanted to thank Wayne DeFeo. You know, consultants get a bad rap, and people are always complaining about consultants, and they charge too much, and we already know what they're going to tell us. We're just paying them to tell us what we already know. There have been really 2 very notable exceptions in the past year. One I mentioned was Arterial, which Councilwoman Lambros identified them very unique in the state. And the other is Wayne DeFeo, who knows more about everything related to waste and leaf and brush and how you responsibly dispose of things in your community, really, I think, than any other person, definitely in this state, possibly in the tri-state area, and who's been a huge help. I think, you know, this moving towards more responsible leaf and brush and waste disposal has been a goal of the municipality since I think I started on the Environmental Commission in 2015 or 2016. And we were going round and round in circles, and Wayne DeFeo really helped us and Sustainable Princeton together, helped us to move forward. So thank you, SP, thank you, Deanna, thank you, Wayne. very exciting. So,
Thank you.
okay, so next item, we have several ordinances on second reading for public hearing. Is someone recusing from the solar ordinance? No? Okay. So ordinance 2024-32, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton regarding roof-mounted solar panels as accessory uses and amending Chapter 10B of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968, and Chapter 17A of the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974. Madam Clerk, do we
need to move.
have a motion? Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, Councilman Cohen. For the public hearing. All right. All in favor?
No, we have to open them to.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Don't always do this. Okay, so now we are going to have the public hearing.
Yeah, so anyone have comments?
Does anyone have comments? Council members? Oh, no, but they might have.
Open
They
to
might
public.
have. You might have some comments to start. Okay. Anyone from the public?
Now you have a hand up.
Michael Craner online.
Thank you.
Michael Craner, now is your chance to talk about solar panels. Welcome back.
I don't know if I'm being received or not.
You are. We can hear
Everybody
you.
hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, very good. I didn't really hear what you guys had said. It looked like you were approving the ordinance. There was yays and nays and stuff like that.
We were
did
just
that-
introducing it, so you're well timed to provide your comments.
Okay, so comments come first and then you guys vote on it. So all I want to say on this is that it looks like the ordinance is the earlier ordinance. If you guys are extending that, we just needed about on the order of about 2 inches higher clearance for the solar panels in order to get this one project through. But in general, the ordinances from nearby towns and so forth have it adjusted for the newer panels and newer mounting hardware. The rooftop mounted solar that is mounted on those types of roofs, the flat roofs, is actually pretty low profile, and it helps us avoid having panels on more obvious surfaces of the roof that would be more visible from the road. So I'm in favor of that. If you have any questions that I might be able to answer in terms of the technicalities of that, I can try to answer those for you.
Thank you. Tiana, did you want to speak to that or no? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Would anyone else like to speak to this? David?
Yeah, I just remembered something I wanted to say about it, which is this is really nibbling around the edges. We already have an ordinance which permits them, as Mr. Craner referred to, it permits them to be 6 inches above the roof. We're just extending that by 2 inches, but that's a needed revision according to staff because of the current mounting hardware that's used for these types of panels. So they've been seeing a lot of applications come in with an 8-inch profile and wanted to fix that. And then the other piece of it is allowing the panels to be on accessory structures in addition to primary dwellings. So that would be things like pool houses or a garage or whatnot. And, you know, there are a few properties in town. I think most property owners, if they can, would like to put the panels on the roof of the dwelling anyway. So, but this is really trying to solve a problem that's quite occasional. But we do hope that it will result in more installations of solar panel systems.
Any other comments? No. Okay, I just also want to thank Justin and Derek and Dan Weissman, who's not here today, who've worked on this, and also David. Like all our ordinances, this seems so simple. What could go wrong with an ordinance to put solar panels? It's, you know, all good. But this ordinance we've been working on for a really long time, and our planning and zoning staff have worked hard to get it right. So I hope this will help more people to put their solar panels where they can be most useful. So thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance number?
I made it already.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. We have one motion.
And we have a second.
And
I
David
seconded,
seconded. Okay. Roll call?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you.
Mayor, if we could just put on the record, I am recusing myself from this next ordinance.
Okay, not the solar ordinance, but the next one, which is much less controversial. Okay, the next item is the ordinance on second reading for a public hearing number 2024-35, an ordinance by the Municipality of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of real property by negotiation, purchase, condemnation, or eminent domain of the real property located at 101 Walnut Lane, Princeton, and designated as Block 31.01, Lot 1.05, and Block 7301. Lot 1 on the official tax map of the Municipality of Princeton. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2024-20? Leticia, second Layton. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Do any council members have comments or questions on this before we go to hear from the public? You want to hear from? Okay. So our attorney, Steve Mlenick, who's been handling this matter from the municipality, is going to start with a short briefing for council members and the public on what we're doing tonight. And go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Council President, members of the council. The public hearing that you've just voted on concerns ordinance 2024-35, which is the ordinance that would authorize and direct municipal staff and professionals to take the steps legally necessary to try to acquire the property through a private sale, or if not successful, to acquire the property through condemnation, eminent domain, that property being, of course, 101 Walnut Lane. As the council knows, there was a second ordinance that was introduced a few weeks ago, that is 2024-34. That is the ordinance, the bond ordinance that concerns how the acquisition would be financed, and that would be the subject of a public hearing on October 14th. So that's not the subject of this ordinance that's a public hearing tonight. One aspect that I think is important for the council to understand, but as well as members of the public, is the white elephant in the room, which of course is the litigation that is known to be surrounding this property. Of course, the municipality is not a participant in that litigation, but it does surround the property. One thing that's important, I think, for everyone to know is that regardless of any of the claims that are made in that or what is ongoing, the municipality's right to acquire that property, either through private sale or through
Steve,
condemnation.
can you talk into the mic? 'Cause I'm
Sure.
just not- yeah, that's great.
Sorry. Either through private sale or condemnation, is not impeded at all by any of the claims made in the ongoing litigation. The municipality is free to acquire that property, and the ownership is free to convey that property. That's clear through the current litigation. That's clear through the law, which is a constitutional right of the municipality to acquire property unencumbered. And it's also clear through the opinions that have been issued over the last several years regarding the property by the state's attorney general. So I think it's important just for that to be the table-setting moment here, that the municipality can legally acquire the property. But beyond that, I wouldn't like to say anything further about the litigation. As I said, the municipality is not a litigant in any of those cases. So with that, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer before we go to the public comment session.
Okay. Anyone in the room I see there's some hands on Zoom, but we're going to go to members in the room first. And if you could state your name and your address, and if you would be respectful of the time limit we have imposed, which is 3 minutes, we'd be grateful.
Thank you. Members of the council, citizen from Princeton. My name is Antonio Merolli. I live in 173 Ewing Street, and I'm a member of the Westminster Community Orchestra, which is a community orchestra based in the property in Walnut Lane, where is the Westminster Choir College and Conservatory. We are a 50 musician group, but in the site, other local music institutions operate, and teachers and students from the conservatory. It's more than 20 years that we are under the direction of Dr. Ruth Oakes from Princeton University. And it is my understanding that with the resolution 24204, the governing body has determined that it is in the public interest to acquire the property for various public purposes, including recreation and other public needs. So I assume from this that the resolution already provides the wording for preserving the use of music facilities at the site, of course, under the provision of a sustainable business model. And I also would say that it seems to me wise and cost-effective for the point of view of the taxpayers that the community keeps the existing musical facility in place and alive, rather than building them maybe in the future again in case it's faced that the needs becomes unmet. So in conclusion, the music history, the music facility, and the music people in Walnut Lane are an asset for Princeton, not a liability. And I think that this council should keep this in high regard. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. I'll just say we're not going to respond to every comment, but I know that my colleagues and I are very aware of those facilities and the importance they play for the people who've used them and the value that they are. And I think one of the reasons we don't want them to continue to deteriorate, because we understand the value that they have for those of you who have been and may continue to use them. So, who else?
Good evening. My name is Henry Singer. I live on Laurel Circle in Princeton. In a situation like this, when we're authorizing to move forward on acquisition of real estate, my expectation would be there would be an articulation of a specific unmet need, requirement, or problem that you're trying to solve, as opposed to maybe generalities around, we might do this, we might do that, it might help us, whatever. If there's a open space requirement or a park that we have to make because we don't have enough parks, or whatever it might be, I have that expectation. It would seem to me this is a lot of money. In my family, we wouldn't talk about buying property unless we had a specific need in mind. I hold you to the same standard as I would anybody in the community. And I look forward to you stating specifically what you're planning to do with this land as opposed to just acquire it. Acquire it for what purpose? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singer. And I think all of the above are things that, as we said in our statement, are needs of the community. And because of the legal nature of the proceedings, because it's in litigation, unfortunately, we can't be as forthcoming as might meet your be satisfying to you. But I hope that when we get through this phase, we'll be able to. So, anybody else? Maria?
Have to have this adjusted. I'm not really sure what to do with this. Okay. Hi, thank you to the council. My name is Amy Wolf. I lived in Princeton for 32 years. My children were born in the old Princeton Hospital and graduated from Princeton High School. I've taught at the conservatory, at Westminster Conservatory, which is on this property we're talking about, since 1978. The conservatory was founded in 1970. It's like the Oscars with the timing. The conservatory was founded in 1970, so it's been in existence for 54 years. It's educated children and adults that whole time, private lessons, private music lessons, classes, the orchestra, which was so beautifully articulated by the gentleman who spoke before me. I wrote notes down, but I'm really speaking from my heart. Westminster means a lot to me and a lot of people. I'm not, if the best course of action going ahead for the conservatory is for it to be acquired by Princeton, a community I love, then I'm okay with that. But as was articulated earlier, I think it's so important that a piece of this property maintains the roots of Westminster Choir College, world-renowned music school, now located physically in a small way at the Lawrenceville campus, but that the conservatory is still on the property and to my opinion, should remain on the property. I have a recurring nightmare that I wake up someday and there's a 22-acre soccer field where Westminster was. In no disrespect to sports. My daughter was on the swim team at PHS and so on. But I think that part of it should be retained as the Westminster legacy, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. After all, Princeton is a community that's always been known to respect and to support the arts, like the Arts Council, for instance. Maybe Westminster could, be a sort of a musical version of the Arts Council at some point. But Princeton has always been a vibrant musical community, which has supported me, my colleagues, the families of Princeton, and I hope that you, as a council and the community, will continue to support Westminster Conservatory in whatever capacity works. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to, for people in the audience or in the public who aren't clear, there is Westminster Choir College, which is now located and operating at the Ryder campus, and I'm trying to say that as neutrally as possible. And then there's the conservatory, which has offered lessons to Princeton's children since I took lessons there. I just want to assure you the council is aware of the value of the conservatory and it's the musical gift that it has been to the community over many decades. And I believe that the conservatory staff received a message from Ryder indicating that both Ryder and the municipality were interested in giving the conservatory, last week I believe you received a message that we were interested in giving the conservatory the opportunity to determine what future makes the most sense for you, where and how. And obviously that's a complex question, but I just want to reassure you that we understand everything that you just articulated so eloquently and movingly. So thank you. I'm sorry, we have to, we can't, we have to go through everyone. And we generally don't have a policy of people asking second questions, but let's get through.
Hi, I'm Linda Mindlin. I live on 50 Valley Road. I've been a resident of Princeton since 1976, and I too had my 3 children in the public schools, all of them seriously involved in the music programs. I'm a voice teacher at Westminster Conservatory and a lifelong performer. So I know now that you're saying that you all have, what do I want to say here now? I'm changing everything. That you are giving a lot of consideration to maintaining the conservatory. I can tell you that we at the conservatory are not easily convinced. We are not easily convinced that Ryder has an interest, if they have anything to say in any of this. The Westminster Choir College was not just a music school. I mean, it was a gleaming asset for all of Princeton. And when Ryder announced that they wanted to sell the property, our governing body and school board glommed onto the idea of acquiring that property. And it was pretty disconcerting to all of us because we had hoped that the town would have stepped up to maintain Westminster Choir College. That's, I guess, over and done with. I understand that the 3 entities that own the property have not met with another entity. I'm not sure why. None of us are sure why the 3 entities that own the property or who are looking to own the property have not met with this other group to try to negotiate and work out a plan. But I want to just, that's what I want to say about that. Westminster Choir College is not the school it used to be. It was a world-renowned, unique kind of school that doesn't really exist. So they may be struggling, but they're not existing as they were. And that's because Ryder took them and moved them. That's solely the whole reason. So, but I'm really representing myself, as I guess we all are, but I just want a bunch of questions. I have a bunch of questions to ask, and I'll be really fast. I think you understand that that our school, the Westminster Conservatory of Music, is a community music school. We teach babies through, I have a student who's 80, okay? We teach all ages, adults as well. And it is the premier community music school of New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania. There is not another school like us. We have very high caliber of teachers. We don't mess around. We are at the core of creating kids who are feeding into their school music programs because they have all these lessons there. And that makes the quality of the school music programs fabulous in all of the schools around here. And we all know that Princeton is fabulous to begin with. So
I'm so sorry, just if you could wrap it up.
Oh, yeah,
'cause now
okay,
we're
I didn't
going
realize
way
what the
over.
time was.
I know it's
Okay.
emotional, but if you
so
don't
this,
mind.
this, I just, and the fact that students can just walk over from the schools, I don't know how much we have to emphasize to not just you, but the entire town as a way of letting them know about the importance of this Westminster Conservatory of Music. We wake up every day, one more second, we wake up every day wondering if next week we're going to still be there. Our students know that, not because we tell them, they just know. And there needs, as soon as possible, whatever is going on, a really solid assurance, not just talk about Westminster Conservatory of Music.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out and sharing your thoughts. Mr. Zink?
My name is Clifford Zink. I live on Aiken Avenue, and I'd like to congratulate the council for this bold and very, very important initiative for the future of the town, for all the reasons articulated in your announcement. And I'd just like to say three things. The first is, I think everyone's aware that the core, the core of the site that was opened in 1933 is an historic complex. I'm not sure exactly how many buildings, 4, maybe 5 buildings. It's certainly eligible for the National Register. It's been noted by the Historic Preservation Commission and also cited in the master plan as a potential future historic district. So as you proceed in reusing this property, I would recommend that the town proceeds with designating that core and finding appropriate uses for it. And when the town actually acquires the property, I think it's very important to get all the architectural records, not the records for the actual operation, but the architectural records, because there'll be a lot of information in there. Second point is, I urge you to be creative in repurposing this site. It has 12 buildings. Certainly not all of them are fully usable, but it'll be years and years as the town develops uses for this property. Many of the buildings are certainly suitable for uses, including continuing music education on the site. So be creative in using what's there as long as possible, and maybe in the future a building might be demolished. And the third thing I'd like to say is engage the community very seriously in the town's development of the site. You mentioned that in your announcement, and I think that's very important to engage the community, because that will generate the most support for the project, and I think it will also potentially create the optimum outcome. So congratulations for this really bold move. And I and everyone else here and many other people in town are looking forward to hearing much more about it when you're able to share things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else in the room before we go to Zoom? No? Yes.
I just want to thank each and every one who has shared information with us tonight. I know we also have, I think, 2 more people that are about to share information, but I just want to assure each and every one of you that you have been heard. Thank you.
Okay, can we let Josh Zinder in?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joshua Zinder. I live at 142 Moore Street, a block away from Westminster. My children have taken part in music classes, opera, and performed many times in its halls, and numerous other activities, including sledding on their hills every winter. I do not know what the town has planned for Westminster Choir College. Clearly, we all want Westminster to be used to benefit the greater Princeton community through housing, education, entertainment, community nonprofits, open space, and portions as a historic legacy. I am very concerned about notions that the property will, in part or wholly, be turned over to the school district, which has demonstrated that they are poor stewards of the structures in their hands, as can be seen in how they let the Valley Road School fall apart when they should have been trustees of that building and other buildings. And I say our buildings because it is our taxes that pay for them. I do not know that this acquisition is the right thing to do, but I am optimistic of the potential that it has. But I am fearful of giving the school district more of Princeton's architectural legacy to squander. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Maria? Can we let Maria in?
Good evening. This is Maria Juega from Grover Avenue. I'd like to share that I'm very concerned by the lack of public disclosure that has been provided on this very large acquisition proposal. I have a list of questions. I'm very thankful to the local media that has provided a lot of background research, such as Rich Ryan and his article today. But I have some additional questions to ask. First, how much money has already been spent in this project? It appears that in March, apparently an appraisal was ordered. I assume there's been legal fees spent already. It would be nice to know how much has already been invested. Second question, when will the $15 million bond issue take place, and will it take place before the purchase occurs or only after the purchase occurs? Is there any ballpark cap that council has in mind to spend time and money invested in this project if the legal process stretches out and makes the purchase impossible? In other words, how much money and time are we going to put into this project, regardless of what happens to the legal situation? And the last question is, have you considered appointing a task force of expert local stakeholders to manage the process and keep the public informed? Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Was there someone else who had their hand up and now it's down? Okay. Okay. Anyone on council would like to share their thoughts? Would anyone else in the public? I don't see any raised hands, but before I close the public hearing, I should probably, yes.
Hi there, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to our concerns. I think that first of all, Jessica Vieira from Stockton Street. I have 2 children in the public schools and have been very active and vocal in not only in their education, but also in the schools. I want to make it clear I'm not speaking as a PTO representative, but rather as just a resident and a parent. I think what we've heard today is that a lot of people have a lot of questions. And I think I personally would like to express concern about collaboration amongst all of the entities within our community. That is, the town may think, and council may think that, what they're doing is great for the community, but there are several major institutions in our community that need to be part of this decision. And I encourage council to work with the Board of Ed and the schools, keeping them as independent as possible, the 2 entities as independent as possible, but realizing that, this is a real asset that is not only for our community, but for our students and for our adults in our community. And we want to make sure that whatever the decision is made, first of all, it's a lot of money. And we have 2 concurrent things going on between the Board of Ed trying to meet their demands. And we want to make sure that when we're spending our money, we're doing so responsibly and that it satisfies everyone as a whole. So thanks again.
Thanks so much, Jessica, for coming out. And I just want to emphasize that this process, this phase was just about acquisition, which is really just a very narrow phase. And unfortunately, because if you all have read some of the articles that were referred to tonight, there were multiple streams of litigation by multiple parties over multiple years. So you can imagine that any engagement in this process was, extremely constrained. And what dialogue there was between major stakeholders in the town thus far is not something that we can speak to. However, should the vote tonight be to acquire, and should we move forward on that, then to Maria's point about appointing a task force of community members to oversee the planning for the future, the answer to that is yes, we have considered that, and I think we referenced that in our statement. And the most important thing that we here all want to see happen is that this property be used for the future benefit of the residents of Princeton, the public, and that the fate of this property is not determined by an external entity. And I think one of you mentioned you weren't sure why that, negotiation hadn't taken place. And I will just say that our interest here is ensuring that this property belongs to the public and to Princeton's public, and we have many needs, and should we move forward with acquisition, it will be a long process to sort through those needs, and we hope that there will be maximum public input, and so I'll just leave that at that for now. Comments from Councilwoman Lambros?
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate my thanks that Leighton and Mia expressed to everyone. We're hearing some concerns, some good ideas, some comments, a lot of questions. And again, just the reassurance that we're not at the point yet in the process, but when it's appropriate, there will be a robust planning process that will incorporate the stakeholders, the community, and we come to the best public benefits that we can find. So, but thank you everyone for coming tonight and for continuing to stay engaged with us.
Yeah, and I just wanted to address, I think, one of Maria's questions, which we can answer, the question about timing for the bond ordinance. We're going to be hearing that on October 19th, I believe.
I think it's the 14th. Isn't it the 14th?
Yeah, the bond ordinance is currently scheduled for a public hearing on October 14th.
Okay. And then typically, the money won't actually be borrowed until it's time to close on the property, and we don't have a good
Except
time
that this
estimate
is
on
not a
that.
normal closing because it goes through a court process.
If it goes to condemnation, if we weren't able to acquire it privately beforehand, yes, there's a process that would have to be followed and a checklist of procedural steps that have to take place, including depositing those funds in with the court.
So I too want to thank everyone who has come in person today and those who have joined us via Zoom. And I also want to express that as I've been thinking about the many possibilities and the significant value of this property will bring to our community does fill me with excitement. And I eagerly anticipate collaborating with community stakeholders, and I'm committed to ensuring that we collectively identify uses for the site that will benefit the public for generations to come, and that will include input from the community. Thank you.
Did you want to say something else? Okay, so I just want to close by saying, just thanking you all again for coming out, and I just, on a personal note, I wanted my son to come tonight because I wanted him to see us vote on something which I really believe is historic. And I will just say, for all of us, we felt, that this is not something that we could live with ourselves if we walked away from the ability to make sure that Princeton residents are able to determine what's best for this site, for the people who live here, the voters and the taxpayers. Would be very easy to sit up here and keep a seat warm and let life pass by. And moments like this, as we said in our statement, this is really a once in a lifetime of a town and a true generational opportunity. This is 23 acres in the center of the town. As you all know, we have a lot of housing going up, and along with that housing comes real need for public facilities, educational, musical, recreational, and
Musical.
I think I just said musical. And I also just want to say that people who are here who, you know, have spent their lives on that campus connecting with others who value music, we understand. I personally spent a big part of my childhood on that campus studying violin and piano and music theory and singing. My grandmother's funeral was in the Bristol Chapel. All of us on council have real ties to this property. It is what happened is what happened. We can't change that. The only thing that we on council can do now is try to make the best of the situation for the future generations. And I think there's tremendous possibility. It's a large site. I think there's room for all sorts of things that the community, the many stakeholders in the community would like to see happen. And we're excited to work with all of you once we get past this very challenging legal stage to envision the future together on this site together. So thank you all again for coming out, sharing this evening. It is a historic evening for all of us, we believe. So. Okay, after all that, I think I have to get down to the mundane. Do we have a motion to adopt? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you like to call the roll?
Ms. Perrone-Lambros.
Yes.
Mr. Cohen.
Yes.
Ms. Sachs.
Yes.
Ms. Fraga.
Yes.
Mr. Newland.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, thank you. So the next item are resolutions. Resolution 24-279, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton approving police promotions for 2024. Do I have a motion to adopt? Leticia, second? Michelle? Do any council members have comments or questions on this resolution? No?
I do. No. I just want to say, you know, when a chief retires, there's movement throughout the the department, and we're really fortunate to have so much talent. You know, I have the opportunity to be in the Public Safety Committee. We did the interviews, Councilwoman Fraga, the mayor, and I, and Bernie, and it's really impressive, the caliber, the experience that they bring forth. Our new chief, Chris Tash, has really stepped right in, you know, to John's very big shoes. And now I have to say that the new captain, Lieutenant Salovey, has really moved through the department. I think he's done like every job. So it's really impressive. So I just want to say congratulations, and glad we're moving forward.
Great, thank you. So, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay, resolution passed. Next resolution, 24-281, resolution of the Mayor and Council authorizing the award of a bid contract to Clark Moynihan Landscaping and Construction for 2024 fall tree planting for an amount not to exceed $57,969,100, sorry.
I think we missed one.
We'll go back.
We'll go back.
Okay. Motion to adopt?
Did you want to?
Michelle, second is David. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
But we can't just
Well,
go back. We need to
we
amend the
can.
agenda.
second resolution.
Okay, Resolution 24-280, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing an agreement in the amount of $56,614.35 with PSE&G for the purchase of decorative streetlights and poles on Witherspoon Street, Phase 3, Lee Avenue to Valley Road. Motion to adopt. Layton, second Michelle. Any comments or questions? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm not going to do Clark again. Moving right on to Michael Baker. Yay. Resolution 24-282, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a professional services agreement to Michael Baker International for the Hamilton Avenue corridor study for an amount not to exceed $42,500. Motion to adopt. David, second Michelle. Any comments or questions?
Yes. Mia, this is a study about the long-awaited bicycle traffic study. It's going to be intense and it's, I think, going to produce good results. What do you think, Councilman Cohen?
Absolutely. I did just want to mention that the reason, or at least part of the reason for this study is that traffic conditions and other conditions have changed since 2020 when the previous study was done. So they're going to be updating traffic counts and considering any adaptations to the plan that was recommended in that 2020 study. That's what this is about. And it's going to look at the entire corridor in, I think, a conceptual way, and then we'll move forward with engineering the section between Linden and
Moore Street.
Linden and Moore, or possibly all the way to Harris and Moore.
So my only, did you want to say?
Well, but we're also going to look at holistically the whole corridor, which is so we have a plan. I mean, we might not be able to do it. Like, we can't do bike lanes and bike infrastructure all through town all at once, but this will give us a roadmap, if that's not a pun, to get this bike infrastructure done. This is an important corridor to connect east to west and to feed right into the schools and to the CBD. So it's really an important part. So I'm excited to see it moving forward. Thank you. Thanks, Deanna and your team.
And Deanna, this extends from Bar Lane all the way to North Harrison, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just got to say, I feel like we've been studying this since 2016. I don't know what more we could possibly study. We even had beta bike lanes there. We've even had the real thing. So
Are you going to vote against it, Council President? Are you going to vote against it?
No, I just hope that one day we get beyond studying it and actually do something. But, sorry. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oops. Resolution 24-283, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton approving the memorandum of agreement setting forth the terms of the new collective 2024 through 2027 negotiations agreement with the New Jersey American Federation of State, Local, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 1530, and authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute said agreement. Motion to adopt. David. Second. Layton. Any comments or questions? David?
Yeah, I just want to praise and thank our administrator, Bernie Hostovic, who helped really make this a great agreement. It's a win-win for the municipality and for the union. Oh, and Deanna, sorry.
Smooth operators, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deanna and Bernie. Yeah, that was a lot of work. And I think everyone is quite happy, right? On all sides. Yep, good, right? Doesn't always happen with collective bargaining that people end up in a happy place, so it speaks well. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Council President, I am recusing myself from this next resolution, 24-284.
Okay. This is Resolution 24-284, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton approving the appraisal and authorizing the issuance of a formal offer letter and initiation of bona fide negotiations for the acquisition of the real property located at 101 Walnut Lane, Princeton, and designated as Block 3101, Lot 105, and Block 7301, Lot 1 on the official tax map of the municipality of Princeton. Motion to adopt. Leticia, second Layton. Any comments or questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 24-285, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the submission of an award extension request for improvements to Alexander Street, Dickinson Street, and University Place Municipal Aid Project 2023-MA-00310 to the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Motion to adopt. David, second. Michelle, all in favor? Oh,
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right. All right, we are on to the consent agenda. Would any council member like an item removed from the consent agenda? No? Okay. Motion to adopt? Michelle, second Layton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. David,
Move to adjourn.
second. Layton, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yay. Thank you, everyone.